Alright, have we got... Why is it not coming up? I'll try that again, I guess. I'm not sure if I am live. I'll just wait for the studio to show some Path of Exile in the window, and then I'll know that we're probably live. It looks like it's all good to go. Yep. Cool. Alright, welcome back. If anyone's watching, I very much doubt it at this point. We've been just making a couple of videos in the last couple of days, and so not putting any real effort into anything other than just getting content uploaded. Quality, probably not great. I'm sort of winging it. And just chilling. I've been really enjoying Path of Exile 2, and I thought there was like a bit of a lack of content aimed around hardcore and solo self-found. There's a couple of good ones out there, and to an extent I think the people that have made videos, I think they cover really all the basics. There's a lot of stuff to gain out there by watching some of the other creators who are playing in Standard and Trade League. A lot of those things will apply to solo self-found, with the exception that you can't get a whole bunch of currency and then buy certain pieces of gear for your build. But Breach being a profitable mechanic to grind and to juice your towers and stuff like that, that's still juice your maps, juice your precursor tablets. That still applies to endgame in solo self-found. Now, I'll just start this off by saying I do recommend solo self-found as a way of playing the game. I think it's more rewarding and, in a way, a more enjoyable process of finding these upgrades and making that progression on your character. And it's been said before that some of the meta builds and some of the items or unique defining builds are sometimes a little bit out of reach, but that being said, it's definitely not impossible to make a character that can clear tier 15, tier 16. Can we do tier 18? Let me do 16 plus irradiation plus corruption. Yeah, tier 18 maps with a character that you make in solo self-found. Now, you are a little bit limited, especially on your first run into maps. You will probably find yourself to be under-geared. You might have the level requirements, you might be clearing tier 1s, and it could be a bit of a slow process just getting the tier quests done and improving the atlas. But once you've unlocked all your atlas points, and especially in the main area, as long as it's set up to be relatively decent, there are a number of people out there that have tested and played around with like a good way to spend your atlas points, and I'm sure it's probably not too hard to find a good atlas setup. Sometimes, depending on what you want to do in the game, there could be better or worse ways to set up the atlas. And
too weak, too slow.
I'll just take that for a regal shard. Yeah, so there's probably plenty of videos out there already aimed at setting up atlases and optimizing waystones so that you get the most drops and the best loot. But at the moment, I just wanted to take a Ranger 2 endgame. And I think solo self-found is a good place to do it. I was running this character on hardcore, and I did die to a... I wouldn't really say it was off-screen, it was just sort of like not really in my main focus. It could have been off screen, really hard to tell. But it was on the Dreadnought in Act 2, just before the final boss of Act 2. And you've got the Farradan mobs, which, you know, they tend to try and surround you and jump around, and they've got some ranged attacks and whatnot. That's no problem, I was managing that quite alright. But you've got those spellcasters that, like, what are they, plague guys? They got some flies that hang around with them, and then they can cast, like, I don't know if it's an exploding corpse, but it's an AoE that blows up, and I got, very cliche thing to say, but one shot off screen. I was playing the ranger like very cautiously, and thought I'd done pretty well up until that point to take on some of the challenges that the game had offered up until that point, like the Titan in Valley of the Titans. Is it Zalmaranth or something like that? Anyway, that was one fight that I was a little bit nervous about. I did not expect to meet my demise to a white mob, but you know, it can happen. Usually it happens when you're doing something silly, like if you're overcommitting, overextending, and just you get yourself surrounded, or you know, you just get yourself into a bit of a bad spot. That can happen. I was just taking it pretty casually, like, you know, I might have been fighting some guys, I went back just to be safe, and then I walked forward again and just walked right back into the AoE that okay. I walked right back into the AoE that he had casted from that location I was in 2 seconds ago. And yeah, it was a tough pill to swallow. It felt very unfair, to be honest, because it wasn't like there was a clear indicator. I think it was the first mob of that type in that encounter, or in that area. And so, you know, it pays to be aware of what mobs you're facing, especially in maps. Just getting a good idea initially to figure out of what monsters are on the map, just so you can do your best to not get ripped and lose 10% XP, or if you're playing hardcore, just to end the run. But there's a lot of times where you'll get a combination of monsters that's actually just very easy to deal with, like in general, or even for your build specifically. My game feels very inconsistent at the moment. Getting frame drops. That's not nice. I wouldn't say it's entirely because I'm streaming, but I think there's a bit of a bug when you use those levers. Like if you interact with it and then you do something else before the animation starts, I think it's caused some sort of jankiness. So I'm not sure exactly what is going on, but I don't really like the feel of playing a game that isn't perfectly smooth as the developers intended. There's a bit of almost like frame stuttering occasionally, or like a we'll call it a jankiness. There's a bit of a jankiness at times, and
Fury.
If anything, I think it just ruins the immersion, really. Like, it's not a natural sort of feedback that you should experience when playing a game like this. You know, you shouldn't be moving and then your pace suddenly changed just for no reason.
An easy trophy.
But it's manageable. I'll probably wait until I get to the end of this area. It shouldn't be too much longer. And then I think I'll just restart my game. Hopefully that'll fix it. Or it might just fix itself, who knows. We clear up some of the monster density, maybe that might help. But yeah, our FPS is dropping, like typically 140 140, 130 FPS wouldn't be an issue, but I think it's the fluctuating nature of it that's might be part of the reason as to why it feels a bit janky. Sorry if the quality is not the best. But I don't want to sacrifice too much of the gameplay experience in the sake of quality. It's probably not optimal to watch it on full screen, but if it's just watched in the video player on YouTube, it should be fine. I mean, at least from what I've looked at, it seems to look pretty good. At 720p, you know, you won't have as much detail on probably like some of the smaller text when I'm looking at jewels or items and whatnot, but if it's important, I'll probably just explain or read out what it is. So as a bit of a side note, the pace at which this character is clearing through this content compared to my sorceress at this point in the game, I think we had a really crappy wand, but our passive tree was very heavily centered around defensive priorities rather than going for offense. And I think on our ranger here we're practically pure offense, other than the travel nodes we're using to get over into the monk side of the passive tree. We want to pick up the gain 5% of damage as extra cold damage and as extra lightning damage, and pick up a couple of evasion / energy shield nodes while we're over there. I might grab a few more. The monk has got some pretty beast nodes on the early part of the passive tree, so let's have a little look here. Oh wow. Nobody really uses staffs for the sorcerers, but I think that's simply because you can't use a focus. So like it's a dual-handed staff kind of thing.
Anything, I'll take it.
But seeing +3, ooh, instant recovery. I think we might go with that. I mean, it's not much better, but it's better.
See you.
So it's a bit OCD to be coming back and just spending this much time in my stash every time I come back with some stuff. And I think I was just a bit lazy then. And okay, so we're in the drowned city now.
So this is what the Val were capable.
Well, if I was playing hardcore, I'd probably be going back to the town or whichever vendors that I'm near every time I level up, and bringing back
original
Beyond this,
every piece of quality gear and every socketed piece of gear for the most part. Like if you have a full inventory, and then you're not going to come back for like one pair of gloves with a socket. Getting 1/10 of an artificer orb is not really worth it, but
nature has reclaimed the city.
I guess it's probably a matter of taste at that point. Whether you want to go back for it, that's fine, I guess. But I think you'll probably find enough along the way, at least in the future. Alright, so Drowned City is notoriously annoying because of these witches.
Nowhere to run.
So I probably just recommend killing them immediately because they are extremely annoying, and they are surprisingly deadly with their water shenanigans. So we're not playing on hardcore, but oh, we got another elite magma barrier, nice.
Barely broke a sweat.
We're not playing on hardcore, so I'm playing a little bit riskier and just kind of just steamrolling through everything, which is sort of nice. We did get one of our ascendancy points, which we put into, can't remember what it's called exactly, but we get attack speed the more we use our skills, and that works pretty nicely. So we also rolled we did upgrade our bow. I think it had 4 modifiers on it when we bought it from the shop, which was physical, lightning, accuracy, and plus 2.63% to crit chance. And I decided to give it an exalt because it had decent rolls on it for this stage of the game. And we got Leech's mana, which is probably okay for now. We were having mana issues before Act 3, and now we are not having mana issues at all. Like we can't even use our mana. Like it's just always at full. And we got attack speed. We were attacking pretty fast before the attack speed, but more attack speed is pretty nice as well. So I'm probably just going to skip the Molten Vault. I've already done the Molten Vault on my Sorceress on solo self-found. And the point of the Molten Vault is just to unlock the Reforged bench. So
Face me.
I'm not under geared, I'm not under leveled, I don't see a reason to go and do that. But I'm not in a rush either. So but I think I'll just avoid going there simply because it's not mandatory. It's also not mandatory like if you are doing your first playthrough and you just want to get to maps quickly and gear up or level up a bit more or whatever, you can probably do that. And if you're playing hardcore, you probably could skip it as well. I think a lot of people, they just do it anyway because it's nice to have a Reforged bench, especially on hardcore solo self-found. I think that Reforged bench is probably more useful in solo self-found, but it does get to a point where it's not so useful at the later stages of the game or the gear progression. Like if you've already got quite a nice set already of gear, and it's very unlikely that you'll be able to craft something better, then the Reforged bench is just basically spending a lot of time in your stash doing not much. Although I'm not saying it's impossible to get a better upgrade after that. It's just less likely. So that's, I think that part of the game will probably change in the future. I think they just wanted to make the game a little bit more simple than in comparison to PoE1. I've not played PoE1 myself. Okay. I've not played it myself, but there's a lot of things that people say are not in this game that could be in the game, and I think those things will come. We'll have access to more crafting options in the future, which I think is necessary to keep solo self-found engaging and entertaining to play past the first 30-40 hours of endgame, or depending on how unlucky you get, maybe it will take you longer to get good gear. That's pretty good. It's just that the reduced attribute requirements is not good. So I'm not going to spend too much time here. We'll do the
Charge arrow. Crawlers.
we'll do what we need to do. There is another one of those little treasure rooms, but I don't think there's any boss here. I think they just have access to the Molten Vault and the Apex of Filth, which I think is the other way. I think this layout doesn't change. Silver Charm. We have one of those, but this one might have some might have some good mods on it. I don't mind the water hags. They're not the most annoying enemy in the game. They're actually pretty tame compared to those invisible hags. They're quick, they're mobile, they go invisible, and they can like leave the fight and then just attack you at a random time.
So this is what I could smell.
I have died to them a number of times, but never really fighting them directly. It's more that they disappear and then re-engage at an inconvenient time, and they hit you with a freeze that you didn't see coming. But I guess they're not too bad. Like I just sort of ignore them for the most part. I don't wait around for them to come back so that I can kill them. But the most annoying enemies in the game, I think, are the ones that you have to wait. You have to wait for them before you can kill them. So there's those crabs that burrow into the ground. You know, you have to get close enough to aggro them. And wait just a moment before you can attack them. They're a candidate. There's the golems with their little minions. They're not too bad because generally by the time you run straight up to it, you can start damaging them right away. But those invisible hags, they just disappear and go out of the fight. Even though you can see where they are on your screen, you still need to wait for them to become uninvisible. I'm not sure if they can be damaged by every type of attack while they're invisible, but they're annoying. And at the moment, on the current #1 contender for annoying enemy is the vultures, the giant terror chickens on the tower maps that hang on the side of the tower. And for some reason, since the update where they decided to tone them down a bit, they've actually toned up. They might have toned down the difficulty, but they have toned up the annoyingness, because now they glitch and they go invisible. They go invisible when they're on their way to attack you, and you can't damage them. Yep. So you do all this AoE stuff, killing everything around it, and then they're immune to it because they just teleport back to the side of the tower for some reason. Like, they're on the bridge and then they just randomly teleport back to the side of the tower, and you have to wait for them to decide to attack you from the location that they were. It doesn't make any sense. It's obviously a bug and not intended, but I'm not the only one that's experienced this issue. I think a number of people have talked about it, but it's probably not #1 on their priority list. Although I think those types of things should be pretty high on the priority list, other than like game-breaking bugs where certain people can't play content due to bad optimization or just game-breaking bugs. I think those types of like unintended side effects of whatever they've adjusted need to be corrected as they become apparent. So this area is notoriously large and confusing. Good monster density. But I'm just trying to look at the map and figure out where I need to go, so it's not this side. There is a mission here, where, well, not a mission, but like a mob next to a cauldron, and you can get some pretty cool flasks.
Quick and lethal.
And you can also buy some stuff. Oh, that could kill me. You can also buy some stuff, like a vendor. it sells magic equipment like wands and whatnot, but I probably don't need to do it, although I just want to get the mushrooms out of my inventory. Okay, where on earth are we? I feel like I could die, so I'm kind of being a bit careless.
Too weak,
But
too slow.
there's not really any... Okay, we just ate that. Dying in the campaign is not really a big deal, unless you... It's really only a big deal if you're past campaign and into endgame, or if you're playing hardcore. Other than
Prepare
needing to
yourself.
clear the area again in instance resetting, there's not really any downside. I'm not suggesting that they change it, but as long as you don't die to mobs, even dying in boss fights is probably the least punishing thing there is, because you can usually just respawn at a checkpoint outside the boss fight and immediately go again, which I think is a really good feature for a lot of people that played this game for the first time, and also for those people that don't have experience in PoE 1 like myself, but have a lot of experience gaming in general, and also with I'd call games very difficult like Dark Souls. And the boss fights in this play a lot like the boss fights in Dark Souls to an extent. Okay, I just rolled into that.
Storming arrow.
The hitbox of this lady is as large as she is. Maybe even larger, to be honest. Sometimes it feels like it. On smaller bosses, it's never a bad idea to
I just did the
hug.
world a huge favor.
I mean, stay
This
close.
should grant us access
They
to
often
the
have
temple.
they often have pretty bad turning circles. And yeah, alright, I'm not gonna do the quest for the flasks. But yeah, they often have pretty bad turning circles, and you can avoid a lot of attacks by just staying close. Like, not directly behind, it actually helps to stay directly behind and to the left or to the right, depending on which way they swing. But the reason that it's probably better to stay not directly behind, but a little bit to the left or right, is because once they attack and you're behind them, if you're a little bit to the left, like 15 or 20 degrees off from dead center behind them, you know which way they'll turn to to attack you again, and you can move around that. What are we gonna do with all of this crap? What do you want, Oswald?
In particular, look for buildings.
I don't know what to do with this helmet. It's pretty good. 87 life. I feel like I might take it just for that, but I mean, we're not playing hardcore, so if I die, it's no big deal. Questions. So before we upgrade our Wind Dancer, I think what I'm going to do is save this Spirit Gem in case we want to run Herald of Ice. I'm not sure what the maximum level of Herald of Ice is that we can run, but it depends on our intelligence. So yeah, we'll just save that one for now, just hang on to it. I think our Wind Dancer is doing a fine job at the moment. That makes up the most of our energy shield. Where's the rest of it coming from? We must have... Oh, okay, yeah, we have a node giving us more evasion. I'm just gonna dump all this stuff for now. I don't really need to hold on to it. I'll just hang on to that for now as well. Like, okay, we go into the temple. If it sounds like I'm breathing heavily every now and then, it's because I have a vape with me, and I find that to be one of my vices while I'm playing this game.
Until next time. There we go.
And coffee. Vape and coffee, and I can sit here for hours playing. Compared to Rocket League, this is a good game for coffee. It's hard to drink too much coffee when you're playing this game.
I can take you.
And if, you know, 5 or 6 cups a day is too much coffee, you're not drinking it as quickly as you would when you play other games like Rocket League. Every 5 or 8 minutes that you start a new game, have a sip of your coffee, have a little vape, and lightning resistant, that makes sense. Yeah, you can drink a lot more coffee playing different games. It just depends on the interval at which you have pauses in gameplay. Viper cap. That could be interesting. Double res, a little bit of life. What do we have? Fire res and int. Anyway, we're not at a stage where we're like struggling with content, so I think I'm gonna get some ES actually before I run out there. Maybe soften up these mobs too. Oh no, we're burning. Just get on full energy shield, and then I'll just quickly run across. I mean, we don't have much energy shield or whatever.
Fury.
And we did take a hit. That's alright. So compared to hardcore, I think it's a character thing as well. Like, okay, we probably want to be quick through here. Hi guys. Oh, these guys have messed me up more times than I would like to admit in maps. I think I just never really knew what they did, but they can fire this beam of sunlight at you that does a bit of damage. Definitely not something that you should ignore. But on my monk, I think I died to them a lot because you're in melee range. Don't really have a good way of... Wait a second, where is this? Oh, I've ran straight past it. It was on the bottom left. Oh, was it on the top? Okay, serves me right for trying to rush. I think we have to backtrack now, because it's definitely not in this corner, so...
Storm point.
This could be up here still. Yep. We probably have to make another break for it. So I wonder if this sunlight does percentage-based damage or if it does a fixed amount, because I recall on my monk, or at least in the earlier versions of the game, before they brought out a couple of patches, I could... Okay, that's not good. Yeah, I remember it doing a little bit less damage. No, more damage, actually. I thought it did more damage.
We humbly await your return. Oh, let the sun curl your flesh!
Can't kill what you can't catch.
Now you will see! Euphoria! My blood burns! Touch of
This guy
Copic.
realized he's in a fight.
Touch of Copic.
Making fireballs over there.
Trapped animal will lose its mind.
Skill jam is nice.
Eventually.
I'll look at the bow. I don't think I'm going to use a zealot, but I really like the dual string bow. It's got the double arrows. It's nice.
Vile ingenuity never ceases to amaze me.
All right, Alpha. What do you want?
Hey! These runes. Runes. I can make out symbols for blood and offering. Wait, no. It's not a blood offering, it's someone of vile blood. Perhaps if
Ooh, I wonder if we go and do the Temple of Chaos. Have we got the thing for it?
Something.
We do.
The apex! It's opening! Goodness me!
Yeah. I think I'm going to try and do the
We're back in
my
the
second
encampment?
ascension.
I can't believe it! We were right
what
on
would we
top
get?
of this device the entire time. Oh. What? It's some sort of gateway. Oh, how incredible!
Yeah. Yeah, that would be pretty cool. We'll go and run Chaos get our second ascension.
How can
You know not what you
Yeah,
see you.
might get some cool loot out of it. Where is it here?
A descendant of the Magi? You are all.
Hopefully we get the giant chicken as the last
I will
boss.
not abide by this. Lightning descends.
I used to absolutely hate the Chaos Trials, but I think once you've done it a number of times, it becomes
Charged arrow.
a lot more manageable. And we are sufficiently leveled for this to be quite easy. I think at level 38 I might not have been... Oh, it's just going through the campaign, I guess. And then I think the next, like the fifth and the sixth ascension points will be much later. I'm not sure if it's
We are only getting started.
after level 60. Oh, these are all kind of bad. Extra chaos damage is not good. Critical hit chance might be the better option because we don't get hit. But obviously I don't want to pick that one. I feel like Rings of
Gossamer
Doom could just be
flesh
really
and
annoying.
brittle bones.
Like it is really annoying actually, especially on this. No, actually on this one it's not too bad. I thought this was the statue one
Stem the tide.
where you have to follow the statue to its location. This one's pretty easy. It does depend a little bit on what monsters spawn. But yeah. Now hopefully our evasion holds up. And we don't want to cop spell crits because that's probably going to be death. And if we do get hit with a normal attack, I'm hoping our evasion will avoid that. So
In my sights.
well, then again, the chaos damage, giving monsters extra chaos damage might not have been that bad. Like, if we do get hit, then we're taking more damage. Oh,
An easy trophy.
is this guy normal? Yeah, normal monster. There's a lot happening. Never corrupted. That is so cursed.
This is just a warm-up.
I'll take the
Suffer the
elemental
elements.
nerf. Why not?
Don't fall behind.
Okay, well I'm glad I didn't go with the other mod that I was thinking about choosing. Oh cool, we can...
Storming arrow.
That's a bit cheesy. These guys behave exactly like those rowers. They just kind of run around weirdly. You know, it's probably happened to somebody that they've picked up an item from doing this Chaos Trials at level 80 and killed a rare mob, dropped a, let's say a siphoning wand for example, and they've been using a +4 siphoning wand for some time. They've been looking for a +5, and they pick up a magic wand off the ground, so a blue one, and it's +5 with like 100% spell damage, but it's corrupted, so they can't actually add any more lines to it, and it's basically just a cursed wand. It'd be very unlikely, but I'm sure it's happened to somebody out there, some unlucky soul.
This is just the beginning.
Oh, nice. Topotante. I think we'll go with the
May the dead speak their final
volatiles.
peace.
I guarantee you I'll forget that they actually exist.
Well, aren't you impressive?
I suggest you aim for the head.
Take this!
Heads.
Where is the giant?
Chance dictates you will
Not
lose
as
Oh,
impressive as me.
eventually.
whoa!
Rather not break my back.
Nearly forgot about that. Okay, well, I think we could probably forego. Okay, both of these are very bad. Nothing special about that one. We'll take it from salvage currency. So that was pretty close. We did take a bit of damage at some point in that fight, but we were doing a lot of damage as well, so I wasn't too worried. Scepter. Guess I was.
Got no pack space for
Whatever.
that.
Your merits
Now,
are
if you're
not
doing
without
the
reward.
Ascendancy, beating
Approach
the
the
boss
altar
is not
and
all you need to do.
receive
You need to
Chaos's
interact
blessing.
with this altar. And I have seen in chat somebody said I did my Ascendancy and I didn't get my points, and they probably went straight into the teleport and they didn't click the altar, so then they would have had to do it again. I was originally going to choose this, but what are the other options? No accuracy penalty at distance. That actually is pretty good, because I find it quite annoying when you're shooting at range and your attack just misses. Even though you're aiming on there, you see the red outline on the target that you're aiming to. Okay, well, we're not doing stuff with frenzy charges, so I think we'll probably just ignore that. Apply additional mark. Well, I mean, I don't think we even applied a mark to that boss, so probably not going to do that. We could increase this, but that's not too fun. More skill speed. Projectile speed is good. That'll give us more damage, and also with this node far shot or proximity specialization, I think the obvious choice here is to go for more damage in the first 3.5 meters, simply because the times when you'll want that extra 20% damage is going to be when you're mobbed by an elite or you get surrounded, and it'll just help you get out of that spot quicker. There's an argument to going far shot, so that when you're clearing maps, when you see a mob, it'll be further away, so you'll clear that mob quicker. And maybe it'll help with triggering double heralds or something like that. But I think when you have enough damage and a good enough weapon, you'll still be killing mobs that are far away. And if you're not one-shotting them, there's no harm in two-shotting mobs. So, on the note of what am I going to choose? I'll probably choose the point-blank one, but not now. I'm going to go with the accuracy, no penalty at distance, just because I think it's just going to make the game less annoying for me. And when I get my next, or when I get my third and fourth ascendancy points, I'm going to take Wind Ward, and I'm going to try and get to endless munitions. But we don't have enough to get to endless munitions now, so I'll spec out of this at a later stage, and I'll take endless munitions and Wind Ward. But I just want to try it, see how this feels with no accuracy penalty at distance, because that's something that I found really annoying throughout the campaign. Is you use a skill, it misses, and then if you normally take 2 shots to kill an enemy, now you need to use that skill 3 times, and yeah, it just it wasn't very nice. So let's get out of here, and I think we're going back to the encampment. Quick vape. Quick vape. Oh, I'm so glad that I'm playing on a nice PC. Back in the days when I used to play a lot of Ark on Xbox, I had a pretty crappy Xbox, and Ark was a very, very intense game for like demanding resources. Probably half the time I was playing, it was waiting for my screen to unfreeze. And ooh, do we want to upgrade? 38, 35. The bow's good for now. I mean, I'm gonna throw a transmit. Oh, that is actually some good physical damage. Gonna keep going. Leech damages life. It's not the worst. Typically, I wouldn't recommend using I don't want to slam it with exalts, because the likelihood of this okay, one exalt. Oh, that's terrible. That's also terrible. Can we save it with one more? Getting % physical damage increase. What's the lightning damage roll on this? T1. That's really bad. And also life per enemy hit is bad as well. I feel really bad about it. I've wasted 2 exalts and I'm gonna waste another one. Oh, okay. I think we might have actually just made a better weapon. Yeah, so once we quality this and socket it, it's going to be better. But I think I wouldn't recommend doing what I did, especially if you don't have a stash that looks somewhat like this. Like, I've got a character that's played a lot of hours on already, and it has Like, I'm not going to be lacking exalts if I need to make another upgrade to something later on. But if you're sitting on a pretty empty stash, maybe you're just getting into solo self-found or playing hardcore solo self-found and you're starting from nothing, if you already have a good weapon, you don't want to be using valuable currency. Sure, you can use these blue orbs like the transmutations, and I would even be very cautious about using a regal, because you're going to waste a lot of them on things that have too good mods, and then you roll a regal on it and it's got something shit, and then at that point you just don't want to continue. But we will socket, we will upgrade, and I will probably put iron runes in this one just to leverage the fact that it's got high physical damage. Nice. Yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. Decent upgrade. It's a bit of a shame to lose the attack speed and the crit chance, but if it's a better weapon, it's a better weapon. So I'll hang on to that for now as a souvenir. I've never felt bad about getting a weapon upgrade. That's so weird.
Living Val? In the flesh?
I think I was conflicted there because
My name is Alva Valai.
the chances of getting
It
something
was I who...
better was pretty low.
Don't run away.
And I sort of advocate for
Because of
like
threat.
not
Let's
using
go
a lot
after
of
them.
currency on gear in the campaign. For the most part, you probably can get through the campaign just using blue gear
Just look at that
and
view.
using any, like just using rare
To
gear in the
see this
cases that you
city
find
in
it,
its
and it's got,
This is a
you know, it's the
dream
ideal
come
armor
true.
type. It's like a evasion piece when you're running an evasion build, or energy shield when you're playing a int-based character. But yeah, you don't want to be like constantly upgrading
There they
pieces,
are.
because you're probably going to find something way better at some stage anyway.
Storming arrow.
I was hoping to avoid conflict.
This place brings back memories. On my monk, the first time I played through the campaign, I had a lot of difficulty with this area, and I would say that it's because I never really understood how the stun threshold works in this game. And every time they would run up and attack me, because I had to get in melee range to attack them, I would just immediately get clapped. Kind of like I'm getting clapped now.
Barely broke a sweat.
But yeah, this weapon's ridiculous. Okay, we got the sacrificial heart. That's going to be...
Even from an animal.
That's the only important thing that you want to get from this area. There is a boss that you do need to do to you do need to do a boss in this area to progress, so I think you can pick up another ultimatum key, which... Oh my god, have I got the freeze charm on? I do. No, I got the slow charm on. Yeah. Okay, we got some exalted.
Don't mind if I do.
Nice. I can definitely feel the attack speed. It's a lot slower, but it's hitting harder, so... I'm not sure what is better
Storm
actually.
point.
I almost think the attack speed is going to be better for just doing campaign stuff. Like if you're doing enough damage already, then I think the attack speed might be better off. Alright, I wouldn't be surprised to die in this fight. This one's usually a bit problematic. It's easy to make a mistake, and she's got some invulnerable phases.
Don't worry. I can solve this. This is all just a misunderstanding.
Which one of you activated the gate? Which one of you is a Val blood?
Why, that was me, of course. I am Alva the Live.
Alva really doesn't have a good read on this situation. That is not the time to be
Bring her to Toriani. As for
acting
you,
like that.
I will pay back every drop of Val blood you have spilled.
Oh yeah.
Guess we can't talk this out. Take this!
Pain sharpens the mind. You will fall before us.
She's gonna do her annoying thing. Yep. Can I? Oh, I can attack her. That's weird. That hurt.
Raquel's web.
Uh-oh. Okay, not too bad. What is she
I
doing?
shall crush you.
So I remember this fight used to be a lot worse
What trickery is
when
this? Where did she go?
it ended. You would have to fight all
Now
of
this
them
will
at the
come in
same
handy.
time, which I still think it should be like that. In a way, maybe not in hardcore. That would be a bit ridiculous. Especially, it just really punishes some classes. Like I think the monk would really struggle unless it's like very online at this point. But some people, I guess, if they don't really have the best gear at this stage of the game, and they're just getting through the campaign hoping to find something better, it could be a little bit too punishing if you had to fight all of them, especially after just doing a boss fight. Like you might have no flask charges or something ridiculous like that. You know, you might even be a little bit caught off guard by it too, because you think you've done the hard bit, and then all of a sudden you're getting surrounded from all angles. Alright, so we took a wrong turn. So I think the layout of this area is always the same, and it's like that in a lot of parts of the game, but there are definitely some areas with different layouts, and vastly different layouts actually, which gives the game a lot of playability, replayability. Okay, this is a dead end. So I think it would be pretty interesting to see how people approach speedrunning this game, because what in the hell? Maybe it is a different layout, because I always thought right was a dead end and that you had to
Take
go left.
this!
Oh great.
Too weak, too slow.
If I was playing hardcore in this area, I would definitely bring a freezing charm. Cause bleeding. I don't think it's really what we're going to go for. Well, I'm lost again. I don't know exactly where I need to go, but if I follow this road, it should lead me in the right direction. Yeah, alright, we're going the right way. So we got Agarat, which is a pretty large zone. But all we need to do there is do the sacrificial heart to get the 2 passive points. And enter the black chambers. And then from the black chambers, that's the last area in Act 3. That's actually, as far as I've experienced, always the same layout. And if you go kind of in the right direction, it's a pretty quick area. Some of the mobs in there can be quite difficult, but for Ranger and Sorceress it's not too bad. I don't know about Mercenary. I haven't taken a Mercenary past
I shall overcome.
Act 1. Just didn't really... That class didn't really appeal to me too much. I sort of like the themes of the other classes, like the Monk and the Sorceress, the Ranger. I thought that the Mercenary having like grenade skills was a little bit out of touch with the theme of the game, like fantasy sort of theme. They basically got a shotgun and grenades. I mean, it's not the most egregious thing that I've seen. Alright, so Sacrificial Heart is on the other side here somewhere. I did find it quite fun actually playing the Mercenary when I was playing it, but I didn't continue. Oh damn. No, it's not here actually, it's past the checkpoint. I just remembered something actually. I do try and help where I can, but when you're playing hardcore, to avoid getting surrounded, you always want to have an idea of where you can fall back to if things get a bit dicey. The last thing you want to do is kind of like run past enemies and then create some space. You do want to create space, but if you are, you can sometimes run past and end up running into a worse situation.
An easy trophy.
Just get rid of that now. We'll probably be looking to find a piece of gear with a bit more energy shield on that chest piece, maybe, potentially the helmet as well. Or I could run
Stay light, stay alive. In my sights.
I was thinking I could run some pure evasion, pure int boots, but I probably won't meet the int requirements to run something like that.
Stay light, stay alive.
When things die down a little bit here, I'll probably go back. I do want to get that unique. I probably won't use it, but chance shards are good to make when you get the opportunity. What's been helping me a lot lately running through the campaign is not spending too much time in town when you've portaled out, because the most annoying thing that can happen is spending too much time, like you go back to just like empty your inventory, which might involve like using the salvage bench, disenchanting a few things at the this one, and then before you know it, you're like, oh, maybe I should Oh, that does look like a good chest piece. Hang on to that. Don't want to fuck around too long. Let's sell these. Yeah, so if you start getting distracted and
Stay wary.
I can just put some of this back. Start playing with your skill gems and messing up your build. Hang on, was that a speak of the devil? 11 and 10. Yeah, if you start playing with your support gems and spending a lot of time at your stash, and then the instance resets, you go back, and not only is the layout completely different, but you have to kill everything again. It's not always a bad thing, but if you're trying to get through at a decent pace, it can slow you down a bit. Oh no. I'm a little bit distracted because I can hear a voice of someone I don't recognize in my hallway.
Thunderous shot!
It's not like an intruder, but somebody with my flatmate. I think I might just kill this guy at range.
An easy trophy.
So we got the black chambers at the other end of this corridor, we'll call it. And that was a checkpoint for us. So down there is the black chambers. And then we just need to get the 2 passive points for this area, and we're ready to go and kill the campaign boss, the end of Act 3 campaign boss. Feels like slow motion right now. Yeah, it's a bit of a breath of fresh air to be able to just like steamroll the campaign. I remember taking things so cautiously in hardcore, which is effective. You don't want to die, obviously, because if you play like this in hardcore, you'll probably end up getting through the campaign slower because you'll rip and have to make a new character. But ironically, I seem to be doing quite well on this character. And arguably, if we were playing hardcore, I probably wouldn't be playing it as brazen, but
Fury!
There's no serious consequence to death.
Too weak, too slow. How many were sacrificed?
But I did die.
on this altar?
I can't remember where I died, but in Act 3 I did die somewhere, and oh, it was
Just
in one of the
like
boss
gutting an
fights. I
animal,
was standing.
in a sense.
There was an animation, and I got caught out by. a AOE attack because I was standing in a very narrow area that it was indicated that the damage is not going there, but I think it must be to do with the shape of size of the hitbox that Anyway, I got clipped and died. And had I been playing hardcore, I probably would have positioned myself differently, knowing that I wasn't like 100% sure that I was not going to take damage in that spot. So yeah, but yeah, I think if I had this kind of gear on hardcore, I could probably play this confidently, but
yes.
there's no way that I would have,
Another arrogant man erects a statue in his own honor.
like with these boots, I
How
would probably
vulgar.
just have like the movement speed and the 8 cold resistance, and then on this helmet I would probably just have like 1 line of evasion. I wouldn't have even the weapon this good. Like I would be using my other weapon, and that other weapon wouldn't be as good. So yeah, I wouldn't be able to play this confidently on if I was playing on hardcore. What is this corridor? This is like the worst layout for Okay, so we are using mana now. We had mana leech on weapon and ring. Now we've got life leech on weapon, which is not a bad thing. But it was kind of nice having mana leech on both.
Fool! There is no time for this. Aziri will soon
Storm
commune with
point.
the beast. Cease your assault.
Oh, this could be bad. Use a mana flask. For some reason we're not taking damage because we're just doing so much life leech. It's kind of cool.
Too weak, too slow.
Is that how you're supposed to play hardcore? Just full send it? Because that went pretty well. I think I would have been shitting my pants too much to actually survive that if I was playing hardcore. Like, I would probably sit back and just try and take them one at a time.
Prepare yourself.
I can't tell whose lightning this is. Oh, he's lightning resistant. Okay. Yeah, our life leech is pretty good.
Stay light, stay alive.
I don't understand what damaged me right at the end there. It's like he had a some AoE when he died.
Stop this at once. I take no pleasure in harming one of my own. But if you persist, I will do with her what I must.
Yeah. Right, where am I?
That would only slow me down.
We've taken a wrong turn somewhere. Very, very wrong turn somewhere. Guess I'll try this way.
Charged arrow.
I think it's a bit stupid that you can just face tank mobs like this with a ranger, but I guess it just depends on the gear.
So, at the eve of the end,
Alright,
the
Doriani.
demon of Atzoatl has finally come for me.
So be it.
You are blind to the greater good. A minor setback.
You call it a minor setback.
This ends now. The ends justify the means. I can't give up. I
Alright, now the fun
must save
part.
my people.
You know why we're here! It happened! It cannot be stopped!
No, I will succeed. The destruction at Atzoatl will be repaid 1,000-fold.
Thunderous shot.
I cannot let my efforts be in vain. Let's see you survive this.
I survived.
Inconceivable. You will pay for this. Self-destruction.
What is this?
This is not over yet. Let me show you what true intellect looks like. Ah! No! Do not fail me. Not now! How could this happen?
Our damage is looking really good for this point in the campaign. I didn't have this much damage on my spark when I was playing
Your
Sorceress
people
until
cannot be
I got into
saved.
maps.
History is already written. You can stay here and die, or come with us and help save the future.
The legacy of the Val must be protected. I do know of a way to
Oh cool,
contain
a
the
gold
beast.
ring.
Let's just start talking then.
And it's got a high roll
My friend
on the,
here isn't exactly the peacemaking type.
That would only slow me down.
If only there is an
So
ancient...
will you help us?
I suppose, but I will come
It's
to...
settled then.
We could have picked up that mana flask. Yeah, I thought my character was invisible. It was camouflaged into the ground.
By the first ones.
Oh.
You're alive. I'm glad to see you at the mill now. I would appreciate it if you could.
Alright, so
Clear fell.
I might just use this time to figure out where we want to go on our tree from here. Magnitude of shock would be pretty useful because we are shocking, and I don't know how much a 30% increase in magnitude translates to in terms of like raw DPS, because as I understand, if you shock an enemy it's a 20% increase in damage taken, but if you increase 20% by 30%, that would be about 6 to 26% extra damage taken. Sounds good. But we do want to go in some way or another over to lightning rod, and I'm thinking that we just continue this way. We get a dual socket. We can use 2 more points to go and get this dual socket, and we go this way. So that's going to take probably most of our skill points through the campaign, and we're not really picking up any other good notables along the way other than elemental damage, elemental penetration, or resistance penetration is pretty good. I think that's a must-have. Yeah, I think this is a must-have too. So I wonder if there's any merit to pathing around this way. I just don't think we're going to have enough points to get everything we want to get. We could sacrifice this side of the tree, but I do think the movement speed and evasion is somewhat necessary. So we want to take this whole path down here. We also want to take most of this to boost our evasion rating and acrobatics at some stage. So can't really decide on the best way to do that. Anyway, long-term problems, just something to keep in mind. I think
This is like no sickness I've ever seen. Let's track down this miller.
in the short term, we've answered our question on what we're leveling, and that's to just path out towards lightning rod and grab those 2 dual sockets along the way. Okay, kind of close. Okay.
Journey is not unkind to you, miller.
Let go!
He seems to be quite unhappy.
Man or beast, they die the same.
At some stage we will get rid of these gloves for something else, but
Well done. Please come inside.
I'm not in any rush to be changing gear or messing around with any of that sort of stuff.
I Smith for you. There's a beast to protect. Now, if you could.
Alrighty, well, I think we're going to wrap it up as a video. I don't know how long this one's been going for, but I'd just like to say thank you for watching if you've made it this far, and yeah, I'll be uploading more videos in the future. Bye bye.